Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Wake up, America! It's time for the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY.com, West Palm Beach's #1 internet radio station. Here's your host, the Pipeman.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, and I'm very happy to be talking to our next guest because, oh my God, besides being an amazing artist, but he's going to be at Sonic Temple next week, and I'm going to get to see him live. And I don't know if he's been there yet. We're going to talk about it, but let's welcome to the show, Nitzer Ebb. How are you?
I'm very well. Yeah, this is Bon here from Nitzer Ebb, and very pleased to be on the show. And yeah, looking forward to upcoming shows, and especially Sonic Temple.
Yeah, so you're playing tomorrow night in Austin, Texas, right?
Correct.
Do you know that that's considered, now I have my own opinion, but it's considered the live music capital of the United States? Did you know that?
I know that it has, quite the reputation along those lines. Sort of a big arts and culture thing, and you've had South by Southwest for many years and everything. So
totally,
so it makes sense that it's well established in that field. I couldn't verify that it's the live music capital, but it certainly has to be up there, I would think.
It is up there. I tend to think Nashville has that crown, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a fair shout.
It does have a lot of live music there, so that's all that's important. And then Sonic Temple. Have you played Sonic Temple or Rock on the Range ever?
No, I don't believe so.
So this is different than the other Danny Wimmer festivals in the respect of that it's at a stadium.
All right. Yeah,
and so it's like, one of the things I'm excited about is not getting festival flu, from the dust.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't even know how you guys perform, because me, after a weekend of doing interviews and breathing in that dust, I can't even breathe anymore. Like, it takes me a while
it can
to
be
recuperate.
tough. It can be tough. When we played the Daytona Speedway, sometimes it's obviously you can't control. There's no climate control outside, so sometimes those shows, mostly because of the heat, they can be really taxing sometimes, and sometimes, the sun's at an awkward angle, and you can feel your head starting to get sunstroke, and you start searching for areas of the stage that are in the shade. So, yeah, they can be tricky. They really can.
So how do you feel about the difference you find playing in the U.S. opposed to back home in Europe?
Well, I actually live in the US, so it's like I don't know. There's a certain looseness and maybe sort of slightly more light-hearted approach, I think, sometimes in the US.
Really? That's pretty cool to
hear. Yeah, not always, but sometimes I find that it's a little bit more of a party atmosphere, maybe.
That's interesting, because I do both the U.S. and the European festivals, and a lot of us over here, we think the European festivals are the party atmosphere.
Right.
It's so funny, like people's perspective. I think with the Danny Wimmer festivals, though, he has done it to where it's more like European festivals. That gives you, what you're thinking, because some of the festivals here in the U.S., they're not run like a Danny Wimmer or European festival.
Sure.
They're run more like a carnival.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but Sonic Temple used to be one called Rock on the Range. So it has been around for years and years.
Yeah.
And it's been like one of the biggest festivals in the country. And it's different, like I said, because it is a stadium.
Yeah.
So it's kind of really cool. And you have, of course, around the stadium places you can go and things you could do, and and other stages, but the main stage is in the stadium. So it's kind of cool. And of course, it's cool that Metallica's playing 2 sets live there. The last time Metallica played at that festival, right before, like halfway before Volbeat, which was right before them, we got a tornado and we got evacuated.
Yeah.
But Danny Wimmer is so good that, he decided to go to the police in town and the mayor in town and extend the noise ordinance, because we have noise ordinances like you have to stop at 11, period.
Sure.
Like not even a minute later. And Metallica played till like 1, 2 in the morning.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, instead of missing them. So that was great. So you're going to have a lot of fun playing at this festival.
Oh, no doubt about it. Yeah.
What would you say is one of your favorite memories of playing a festival?
God, there's been so many of them. I think rather than being any one festival, it's just, when you get festivals where there's a lot of bands that you're a fan of and maybe not the same type of music as you, and you didn't know that you were fans of each other's music, just that communal backstage, you get to meet a lot of people and make new friends. And if it's a nice day without a hurricane and all that stuff, then then it's just really chill, the backstage areas and stuff. And I just really like the sense of community when you do festivals.
And as an artist, how do you feel that you're treated at Danny Wimmer festivals compared to other festivals?
I think we're treated really well. I've definitely got no complaints or I mean, in general, we get treated fairly well. I mean, festivals for the most part are so well organized these days, most of them. And Danny's obviously amongst those. So yeah, we've always got everything we need, and we're extremely well looked after.
Nice. I just saw Zach come in, but then he left real quick.
Right.
I was gonna try to get him in, and it was too fast. But anyway, yeah. I mean, that's what I hear from all the artists. Like, that's the one thing about the Danny Wimmer festivals is the way Danny Wimmer treats the artists. Because I've been at a lot of festivals where, I mean, the artists do a lot of complaining. And I've never heard a complaint from an artist at a Danny Wimmer festival ever.
No.
Who are you most excited to possibly see at Sonic Temple?
That's always a loaded question, because it depends on our day and what we've got to do that day, what we've had to do in the days before. So I just take it as it comes, and because there's been so many festivals, I'm like, I can't wait to see X, Y, and Z. And then you get there and like, maybe you got there late or there was a sound check issue. So I've had serial disappointments from getting myself too worked up about it. So I just get there, see what the schedule is, see who it might be possible to see, and then
just go with the flow.
Exactly that. Yeah.
And that's why I use the word possibly, because I go through the same thing too. Like, I have a list of all the sets I want to go to, and if I get to 10% of them, I'm pretty happy.
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So what else is going on for you guys moving forward in 2025?
Well, we're currently on tour with Ministry, which is amazing. Really good fun, really good vibe. They've revamped the early material, and I think that's making a lot of people really happy. And I think they're having a lot of fun as well. So the atmosphere on the tour is really good. Really, really easygoing vibe. everyone's having fun. Then we've got more shows coming up in Europe over the summer, just a late spring, early summer, a couple of festivals. Then we come back to the US in September, and we have a tour lined up with Frontline Assembly.
Nice.
And then we're back to Europe for November and December for more dates in Europe before the close of the year. And in between times, plans to hit the studio. And we've been messing around with working on ideas and stuff. So we're seeing where they're going. So between live shows and studio work, pretty full year already, and the beginning of 2026 is beginning to shape up with shows as well. So we got a pretty busy time.
I love that, and I'm always in awe of artists like you that have been doing this forever and can still come up with new material.
Yeah,
it blows my mind. Yeah. I'm like thinking to myself, after doing it for like 40 some odd years, how do you keep writing new songs? It's like you would think you would run out of ideas, but that's the test of a true artist.
Yeah, I think the key to all of that is to treat your creativity, I don't want to say like a job, but to do it on a daily basis. I mean, I write every single day when I get up, and sometimes it's garbage and you don't use it, but it's important to get up and do something, and then you build up a backlog of things to pick from, and then you develop the most promising ones, and even into different projects. I've got a couple of solo projects as well, so if something doesn't fit in one box, it might fit in another one, but the key to it is consistency, to get up and be creative for a period of time every day. And you'll have flat spots and times where you're not feeling particularly inspired, but as a sort of professional creator, if you like, then you learn that you have to not rely on inspiration and just keep developing material, and eventually you will have a backlog to pick from, and just work diligently at it daily, like you would anything else.
Sure. And I love that you said some of it could be garbage, because I'm sure there's listeners that are listening, they're thinking that artists, they just everything that comes out of their head onto the paper is going to be a song that they make into a song or they think is great. But really,
no.
It's the exact opposite, right? Like, you got to write a bunch of shit to get to the good stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have periods. Sometimes you have periods where you feel like, wow, I can't do any wrong. I've finally cracked it. But then you'll have another period where you feel like, wow, I've written for a couple of weeks and don't think I'm going to use any of that. So, right. But even the act of doing it, and sometimes just making the mistakes or finding out what you don't want or where you don't want to be, that can be as instructional in terms of weeding out the quality stuff later on, and you have to do it. I mean, I think any creator has to go for a period of doing sketches, and not every one of your sketches is just going to fall from the sky fully formed. That's just not the way it works. Yeah. So,
and when we're creators, we're our own worst critics. Like, I can't tell you how many times I'll do interviews and somebody will get off the interview and like, oh, that was great. And I'm thinking in my mind, it's shit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think, a lot of the time, it's just a case of kind of staying relaxed about it. I mean, sometimes as soon as you create something, you're like, there's something really special in this. And sometimes the pieces just fall into place. But other times, you can be like, okay, there's something in there, but we're going to have to dig a little deeper to try and pull it out. And other times you just go, oh, well, it was practice at least, and then move on to the next day.
There you go.
Yeah.
And that's so true of anything you do in life. Like, a lot of your practice is what leads to you being good. You don't just wake up good. It doesn't matter what you do. It takes practice for sure.
Yeah.
So what other festivals are you going to be doing in US or Europe?
We're going to be playing at the E-Festival in Europe. I can't remember the exact date. So we're going to be over there. And beyond that, you know, my forward planning, it tends to be like, is it happening next week? If it is, then I'll be a bit hazy on the details, you know. So, but yeah, we've got E-Fest coming up.
Nice.
And then in June or July, I think.
Yeah, I know how that works because it like kind of just swirls around your head when you're doing so many of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'll talk to some artists and we'll sit there and try to figure out where we did the interview at what festival, you know, like, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I just know it was one of them.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, people will say to me, "Oh, do you remember when you played blah 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 blah?" And I'm like, "Are you sure that was me?" You know, it was. But yeah, it does all become a bit of a blur. And I think going back to the creativity thing, it's like I tend to try not to look too far ahead. You know, obviously I'm aware that I've got things coming up and the overall outlook of the schedule, but it's important to try and keep your mind focused on the next priority rather than too far down the line. So unfortunately I'm not always the best person to ask far in advance about exactly where we're going.
right
Yeah.
and that makes so much sense because it's like people do that to me in my personal life. They're like, well, what are you doing in July? I'm like, well, I'm in May, and like, I'm worried about May right now. Okay?
Seriously. Yeah.
You know, so tell everybody how they can reach out to you on the web, on the socials, on, you know, basically everywhere, how they can reach out to you, buy merch, check out your tour dates, check out music, everything.
Yeah. So, you know, we've got socials, Nitzer Ebb. Generally, at Nitzer Ebb. Those are generally the best ways to reach out to us, and you know, available through those general channels. And you know, if you happen to see us loitering around at shows, we're generally fairly approachable chaps anyway. So you know,
nice.
But the kind of usual channels, really.
All right, cool. Is there anything else you want to share with the listeners that we haven't covered yet?
Just you know, really thank everybody that comes to the shows for their continuing support and for making, you know, it's the audience that makes the shows really special. So, you know, as you say, we've been doing it for a long time, and to still be in this position where we have the support that we have and the audience that we have, it's a remarkable thing that we're really grateful for. So, yeah, just to say thank you to everybody. For continuing to show up.
Yeah, I bet you
awesome.
Didn't imagine this in 1982, 1983 that you would be here today still doing it.
Absolutely not. No.
I love it. Well, you guys are great. That's why you're still here. You're a true artist. And I can't wait to see you at Sonic Temple. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you so much, man. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.